Welcome to Casa de Betania. I am Danny. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Thank you for joining me here. And today I want to talk about running the spiritual race. That Paul describes the Christian faith journey as a race. And he goes into detail about talking about how he's training his mind and his body, not just to receive a crown that goes away, but to receive an imperishable crown. So if we jump right into 1 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 24, Paul writes, "Do you not know that those who run in a race all run, but one receives the prize? Run in such a way that you may obtain it." So basically Paul is saying, go into this faith, this journey of faith, striving to win a crown of glory. You know, we have people who compete in the Olympics and who run and they get like a gold medal or silver or bronze or some sort of, you know, crown or medal that will one day disappear or go away. But Paul's encouraging us to run this race of faith that you will win the ultimate prize, which is heaven. And then he keeps going on in verse 25, "And everyone who competes for the prize is temperate in all things." He's basically saying that we as Christians and even as athletes, they watch what they eat. You know, they're getting their 8 to 10 hours of sleep. They're really, you know, going out there every single day and beating their body in a sense, training every day to win and to compete at a level where they can win the prize. And he says, "Now they do it to obtain a perishable crown, but we for an imperishable crown. Therefore I run this, not with uncertainty. Thus I fight, not as one who beats the air, but I discipline my body and bring it into subjection, lest when I have preached to others, I myself should become disqualified." So I love this passage about relating what our journey is on this earth to a race. You know, myself, I competed in high school and college. I ran track and cross country, so I can really relate to what Paul is saying on how, you know, you're out there every day. You know, if it's raining, you're running your 8 to 10 miles. If it's too hot or whatever the conditions outside, it doesn't matter. You're out there training. You're out there getting your body fit and ready to compete at a high level. And I did this in track in high school and in college, and you know, I was lucky and fortunate enough to win some races, and I got a scholarship through it, and I thank God for that. But at the end of the day, all those things, what do they really mean in terms of eternity, in terms of forever? And I can relate to that. We got to run this race of faith to win a crown of glory that doesn't ever disappear. And in Paul's day, the Olympics were a big thing back in the day. And even today, you see athletes training, dedicating their whole life to a sport, to an event where that's all they do all day. They're training, they're eating, they're sleeping, they're breathing this life for them to win something that will one day go away. And Paul is encouraging us to live like that, to train, to read our Bible, to pray, to give to those in need, to live the life that God has called us, that we may one day finish this race and win a crown of glory. And I want to jump ahead to Hebrews chapter 12. I love this picture that the author paints. And he writes, "Therefore we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and he sat down at the right hand of the throne of God." I love what the author paints this picture of, that we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses. And to me, this brings up an imagery of the saints who ran the race before us, our grandparents, our parents, those in the past who've journeyed this faith, this race of life, and who've competed and who finished the race and are now in heaven watching over us as we are on our journey and seeing our struggles and encouraging us. And I just love this idea of like we're in a stadium and the saints are around us looking down on us. And it just brings me great joy to know that we have people who've run the race and who finished the race, and they're waiting for us at the finish line, which is heaven. And we're just on our way to meet them, which is such a great picture in my mind. So another thing is that he writes that Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, whatever Jesus has started in our lives, He's willing and He will bring it to a good end. And on this journey of faith, we have our struggles, we have our temptations, we have our weaknesses, but Jesus is there to continually guide us and to lead us, and He will help us finish the race when we put our trust in Him and when we follow Him. So I just encourage you guys to continue on your faith journey, and I know there's struggles along the way, and we just have to continue to press forward into God and to read our word, to pray, and to help those around us to be a light in this world. And we can say how Paul says in 2 Timothy, he writes in 2 Timothy 4:6, he wrote this in jail, in prison in Rome, knowing that his days were numbered, knowing that the end was near for him. And he writes, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race, and I have kept the faith. Let us all strive to say that we've fought the good fight, that we've raced and we've finished the race of faith. You know, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and there's a lot of things that could happen along the way, but if we continually focus our eyes on the finish line, which is heaven and which is Jesus, He will continually guide us and encourage us and help us press forward to the end. So that's my encouragement today, is to continually run your race of faith. You know, everybody's path is different, everybody's race looks different, but if we can encourage each other, cheer each other on, you know, clap hands for them who are struggling, but really lift them up and help them along the way. I think that's what God is calling us to do, to encourage one another, to love one another, to know that we're all in this together and we're all going to the same place. So I just pray that you would continually focus on God, that you would read your word, and that God would be the center of your life. And whatever you do, let it be for the glory of God. And I thank you for this opportunity to speak to you, encourage you to pray for each other, and I'll be praying for you guys, and we just want to honor God with all that we do. Until next time, I'm Danny with Casa de Betania. Have a wonderful evening.